Madison Losee is in love with foam just about that much less than she loves her husband. So we tied a fly for her called the Foam Queen. But this is a cool stonefly you can put in a lot of different colors. We are going to start putting stuff on the hook. Oh, gosh dang, this is the start. All right, so this is a cool skwala fly. And it's named after Madison Losee, the manager of our shop up in Idaho Falls. I've never met someone who's more dedicated to fishing foam flies, so this one shall be called the Foam Queen from now and forever. All right, so we're just going to put on some 140 denier thread. I like using a little bit thicker thread when I'm using with foam because it's easier to cinch down. The body is going to be fulling mill ultra dry in olive. And we're just going to dub a quick kind of dirty, loose dub body. This stuff is really cool because it's nice and buoyant, even though it looks real straggly and natural like hare's ear. But it has some of the ultra dry fibers mixed in with it. So you can see I'm building up kind of a bulbous body back here. That's too much dubbing, so I'll take it off, because I want that to terminate about right there. And you can see that I took my thread and I wrapped over back onto the body just a little bit. All right, these two haters are really making me mad. Guess what? I have scissors too, yarn. All right, so let's make the body now. Okay, we're gonna just cut a body out. I have this little stonefly body cutter. You really could cut it out yourself, just something that looks close. I have my assistant Kid Cuddy here. When you use these, it's got to go into a little rubber pad. I named mine so that we could get along better. We were struggling the first part of our relationship, so it works out. All right, so I'm just going to kind of place it right where I want it, and I like to just mash down and then rotate a little bit just to make sure that I've cut all through there. This new high float foam can kind of be tough to cut through because it wants to just kind of compress. Anyway, we're going to make one body out of the 2mm. I think that's the Skwala color, which is convenient because that's what we're tying. And this is the black 1mm. So same program here. Rotate that around. See that? No big deal because I compressed it enough. Nope. Fail. Leave it in, Brig. We're going to show them what to do when that happens. Listen, I just got to get more aggressive with it. Sometimes you think it's done and it's not. All right, so there you have it. Boom. Body's done. So that's the stonefly body cutter, I think in like the 10 or 12 size, whatever. So once we have that done, I'm going to take the olive one and I'm just going to put it on the table here. And I don't like the way that I cut that. I'm just going to trim that up just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And then I like to take some markers. So I have these Prismacolors, and you can just kind of dab more color in here and push it with your finger. So you're making just a little bit of mottled coloration to the bottom of this. This is totally unnecessary and mostly for me. So that one was, what's that one? That's a sepia marker. This one's called bronze. And then you could even come in here and, you know, add a little bit of black. You know, just making some dots. Boom. All right, so there we have a little mottled stonefly body. That's going to be the part that faces down. So let's get back to the hook. Okay, so we've got the body. This is the side that's mottled. I'm just going to lay that down. And what you're going to want to do is this little notch right here, you want to line that up with where you want to finish the fly. So this is going to go over the hook point just a little bit. Or over the eye of the hook just a little bit. So I'll just tie it in right there. Just with a few turns. And you can see it kind of wants to taco the foam. So we're going to help that stay down in a position that we are comfortable with, we're going to take some super glue and we're going to put that into the top of the body. And just simply push that down on top and kind of squeeze it down on top of the body. It kind of makes it go down on the sides as well. So a few different ways you can do this. You can do deer hair right now, which looks really, really cool. I'm just going to do synthetic on this one. You can use ultra dry yarn, or I think what I have on this one is EP trigger point and like dark dun, but you want kind of a darker grayish wing on these. So I'm going to farm out a section. Should have done this before we started filming. And it's just kind of a sparse section because this is going to be doubled over on top of itself. Okay, so for the wing, I'm just going to trap that down, and then I'm just going to take the tip of my scissors and fold that over itself, pull my scissors out, and now I've got a little durable tie-in point here. It's not going anywhere. So I'm going to dab a little bit of super glue down there just because there's not a lot of thread wraps. And this isn't a wax thread that will lock anything down. That wing I want to cut off right there. Okay? So that's looking good. Now is the time where we grab our black body that we cut out. Okay? And we're going to take the back half of that and we're just going to cut that off. Just like that. And if you want, you can pretty it up and add, cut off the little pointy ends like this. Then I'm going to take that and I'm going to lay it right on top, match the head up with the head, and lay that down on top of it and just cinch that down now. So there we have kind of a cool little upper body on this that's going to push that wing back how we want it. Now, this is going to ride really low, even though it's foam, and it's also tied with really dark materials. Trust me, you do need an indicator on this. You can use foam, but I'm going to opt to use like a fiber material, like this ultra dry yarn from Fulling Mill. The reason I like a fiber material is it's more durable, and it goes through the air a little bit better than foam. So, same thing we do with the wing, just a few turns. Stick my scissors in there. Let's see if I can do this actually. Fold that back and tie it down. Okay, so there we have kind of a cool looking little fly that's starting to take place. If you're worried about the band of brown or olive brown thread on the bottom of your fly, well, let's just do it. I'll show you how you cover that all up. Just a real thin band of dubbing. And we'll just do like 2 turns of dubbing. And then the next little bunch will go underneath this. And we're going forward to the next little notch section on this segmented foam. I do need a little bit more dubbing before I tie it back down. Let's see. So as you can see, I should be ending right here. So the next little notch is right here, right in line with my thread. And I'm just going to tie that down now. Let's see, make sure my thread's nice and straight across the top. And we're getting close. We're going to tie in our rubber leg. So this is the bane of many tires' existence. If you're tying smallish foam flies, you need to use small legs. And small rubber legs are absolutely a pain in the butt. I've got the small round rubber. You can also use the small size or the smallest size Life Flex. I've done that before. We're just going to use round rubber on this one. So what I'm going to do is just tie the legs in one long on one side, loop it around, just like you've seen me do a bunch of times. Unless this is your first video watching us. If it's your first video, ahoy mate. Thanks for hanging out. Alright, so now if I were to just trim those legs out, they would just come off of that fly almost at a 90-degree angle. So we need to chill that out a little bit. We're going to take that 90 degrees maybe to 45 by mashing some dubbing in between those. So if I do another thin dubbing loop, and if I leave this looped on the front, it's actually quite handy because it keeps those two front legs out of the way. So I'm just going to grab those back and do 2-3 turns, reposition my legs, and now it looks like they're coming off way better. Lift everything up again, and that's way too much dubbing. On this part, on about half of them, I don't even put any more dubbing up here. So just a little tiny little band of dubbing, and finish with your thread right in front or right behind the eye. Pull that last section over and tie it down. Okay, actually that's too close to the eye. We'll just bring that back a little bit and retie it. Okay, I'm going to trim that head a little bit, make it a little more flat. All right, so I'm just going to throw a little hand whip in there because there's a lot going on up at the head. And because I did a hand whip, you're going to make sure you throw some sort of adhesive down. So I'll come in here with some super glue, and I'll just mash that down in on one of those last thread wraps. So what you're going to do at this point, once you've whip finished, you're going to trim that off, push those legs forward, and nuke those all at the same time. Okay? So just like that. And on my stone, sometimes I like to have the front legs just a tiny bit shorter than the back legs. So anyway, there you have a cool little Skwala fly. We also have it in, or I've also done it in this color. Let me find this guy. This one is, he's had better days on his hair, but you can see how I used deer hair on this. My little indicator came undone because I wasn't doing the scissor trick. You can see how I just kind of dirtied it up with a marker. And then I used a rubber leg technique where I added the bars in those legs. But anyway, this is a super cool way to make a buggy little foam stonefly.